Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. And the name of today's podcast is The Past and the Moment, Letting Go, Accepting, and Choosing Gratitude. And the reason this is on my mind today is Friday night, I got together with my family. My daughter was home for a couple of days. My parents came in. My sister joined us, and we all had a wonderful dinner and came back to my place. And we all hadn't been together in a really long time. And I remember thinking to myself, what a great time we're having. And as we walked out the door, my mother said to me, I cannot tell you how happy I am in this moment that we all were together. And as we walked out of my building, my parents were taking a car back to New Jersey. And we were laughing, we were walking, and all of a sudden, my dad fell. Now, my dad is almost 92 years old, and he fell on cement. He was in a lot of pain, and when you're at that age, they usually tell you to go to the emergency room because even cracking ribs could affect the lungs. And in that moment, it was unbelievable. We went from one of the nicest times I've had in months to an extremely challenging time and painful time to watch my dad get injured, to watch him go to the hospital. He actually ended up cracking 3 ribs. He had a hairline fracture in his hip, and he had to actually go to another hospital, a trauma hospital, which he spent about 4 or 5 days there. And I'm happy to report that he's home right now, back in New Jersey, and he's able to move around with a walker. So we're hoping that he's able to heal, but he has a long way with PT, and that's where we are today. And the reason I bring this up to you is that while I was waiting for my sister to call me from the ER, I kept thinking about why he fell, how he fell, why I wasn't watching, why was my sister not watching, why was he in the driveway? And I noticed that I started debating with the past, trying to figure it out, and in a way, trying to undo it. And then I wasn't in the moment. I wasn't accepting it, and I couldn't find a place of gratitude that, thank goodness, he's getting help, he's getting good care. I couldn't do any of that because I was stuck in, why did this happen? And we were having such a good time, and how he fell. So I was stuck in that place many of us get stuck in. And we all know we do this when something really unexpected happens. And if we're not careful, we could spend the rest of our lives debating the past, debating why it happened, how it happened. And it's not that we shouldn't reflect, and it's not that we shouldn't learn, but there comes a time where we have to put the past down. We don't realize we're having a conversation with dead weight. We're having a conversation with something that cannot change. No matter how you feel about it, no matter what you would have done differently, at a point in time, after you go over it and you process it, all it does is it depletes you and it pulls you into this negative place where you will not have the strength and resilience to carry on. And as I recognize that, I realize I had to put it away. And like I always say, Lady Macbeth says, what's done cannot be undone. Should someone have been holding his arm, whatever we should have done or didn't do, this is what it was. And unless I became present and accepted the circumstances and stopped trying to figure it out, I would not be there for my dad the way that I wanted to be. What's so interesting, as I got to acceptance, the gratitude just came. I started to think, thank goodness that he's in the city and there's a great emergency room and my sister's with him and he's going to get the best care. And then when they told us he had to go to a trauma hospital, a lot of people in my family started freaking out. But I said to myself, okay, well, they're going to watch him and they're going to make sure he's okay. And every time there was a bump, like for a while, we didn't know if he was going to need hip surgery. We didn't know how long he would be in there. I kept going back to that place that I was happy that he got help. And of course, you know that I believe that when we don't know, good things could happen too. So uncertainty makes me feel like there's an open playing field for things to change and things to get better. But I found it very interesting. In order for me to go from the past to acceptance to gratitude and to maybe, I had to stop arguing with what happened. And that's why I bring this up today, because we all know about those moments. We go to work in the morning thinking we have this great job, and then we lose it. We have a partner, we have a wife, we have a husband, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, something happens. For whatever reason, the relationship no longer is. Friendships were beautiful, and then they end. So many things happen in our lives that are unexpected, and in one moment, they're different. And I don't want to present this that it's always negative. I have had situations in my life that go the opposite way. I remember sitting in a client's office and my book was rejected so many times, and all of a sudden I get an email that Penguin Random House was going to publish it, and my entire life changed. The day you meet the person you're going to marry, the day you meet your best friend. So remember, we're talking about the before and after, but we don't get stuck when life changes for the better. We get stuck when the unexpected brings us to a place we don't like. And the most important thing is to not stay in what was. Again, you could miss it, you can process it, but after a period of time, that is where you're living, and that's where all your energy is going. And after a while, it doesn't even matter if you figure it out. It doesn't matter what you solved, because the moment is waiting for you to arrive. And you can't arrive in the moment until you accept the circumstances that you're in. And then as you accept your circumstances, as you say, what's done cannot be undone, then you find the presence. And sometimes the present could be painful. It was painful my dad was in the hospital, but at least you're present for it. And when you're present, there's a groundedness in the moment. And the moment is where it's at. The moment is where everything happens. That's where you live your life, and that's where you create your future. And that's where you also make the best decisions. I was so present after I caught myself grappling too much with the past that I was able to make really good decisions with my siblings from my dad's care. And then when you are present, then you're able to be grateful for what is. Even during difficult times, we all have wonderful things still in our lives. We all have resources. And that's the place where we stand. And on top of that, if you could start to have a better relationship with uncertainty as you're trying to work your way out of a situation you're not happy about, that surprised you, that you didn't expect, the fact that you know that life will change again, that you know the future doesn't only have bad things, it has good things too, that there's a field of infinite possibilities, you're going to stand in the moment different. I thought my dad didn't need surgery, and then all of a sudden the doctor came in and said, no, he needs an MRI. We're not sure. I immediately went into maybe. I was so grateful for that doctor because I realized that without that MRI, they wouldn't know, and his entire hip could fracture. But I also knew that maybe he wouldn't need it, and maybe it would be okay. And even if he needed the surgery, he could still heal. So it's a very powerful place. While you're with something you didn't expect, whether again you lost your job or a breakup or something with your child, to see uncertainty as your ally, that's when it all changes. You don't go into despair. You hold the hope even if you're feeling upset or worried or stressed. Remember, there are many possibilities, and there will always be ones you might not like, but nobody knows what's going to happen next. And that is a good thing, because life is filled with possibilities. And the fact that I'm sitting here tonight in my New York City apartment and my parents are able to be by themselves in New Jersey, and my dad's able to walk around with that walker, and PT starts in 2 days, that's amazing. And it didn't feel that way Friday night at 3 o'clock in the morning while we were waiting for his first x-ray to come back in the emergency room. And that's what the last 5 days have been for me. And I wanted to share that with you because I don't want you to get stuck in the past when life is moving in another direction. And I hope this podcast helps you get up every day, letting go of the past and being present to what's before you. You have what it takes to make so many changes in your life. You have what it takes to face the unexpected. And you have what it takes to access the infinite possibilities in your life. Because for all you know, maybe the best is yet to come. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you could email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my books, The Gift of Maybe, A Year Without Men, or Maybe Everything's Okay, A Parent's Guide to Less Stress and Worry, they're available on Amazon and all major audio platforms. If you'd like to buy my Maybe cards or my Maybe digital journal, they're available on Amazon, Etsy, and my Stan store. And most of all, if you like this podcast, I hope you subscribe and leave a comment.